And now you precious young people of another state, of another place, I am talking to you from my home in Washington State. I am from Alaska, but this is where I live. And I am very proud and I'm very honored that you, young people, are willing to come and visit with me to see what I wear when I dance, to see what I do, and to see some of the things that I have, and to introduce you to my raven, because that's my tribe. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is What Fuels You, and we are honored to have Jim Thomas, a Tlingit headman or chief from Alaska, joining our 4th grade Mrs. Gilson's class in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. And I'd like to say greetings to everybody.
Hi, thanks for having us. We're so honored and excited.
First of all, I want to tell you that my Tlingit name is Qatsati. Qatsati means great chief. My other name is Shah Yi Gun. Shah Yi Gun. Now, if you look, I'll turn this down a little bit. If you look at me at a distance, you'll see that this is a mountain. This is the main keeper of the mountain. And then I'll bring this down just a little bit more, and you'll see these are the people of the mountain. Now, where I live, Mount St. Elias by Yakutat, Alaska, is 18,008 feet high. It is the largest mountain in the world, they say highest, that rises directly from sea level. And it's 18,000 feet high. So my name, Shah Yi Gun, Shah is mountain, Yi is beneath it, Gun is standing in guard. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation is the man who brings sunlight to the mountain. And when the sunlight is shining on the mountain, it is absolutely gorgeous. I hope someday some of you will come and see my little village in Yakutat. There are about 20,000 of us Tlingit people left all over the world. And there are only 40 to 50 people who can speak the language. And I happen to be one of them. So when my generation goes away, there will be basically no one left who can really speak the language, which is too bad. So in our way, I was telling you that in European countries, there can only be one king. England has one king. Spain, Germany, they all have one king. So when they came to the United States, there were so many tribes that they met on the shore, and they couldn't call all those people who were the head of the tribe kings. Could only be one, according to them. So they gave us the term chief. So the one who heads up the tribe, they said was the chief, but that's not the way we look at it. We say the person who leads the tribe is the head man. In my language, Pasha Dehani. Pasha is the forehead. the forehead that stands toward the enemy. That's what the chief is. It's not a glamour position. It's not somebody who leads parades. It is up to the chief to make sure that the tribe obeys all the rules of the tribe so that they can survive into the future. Because our enemy was not always another group of Indians coming down the river or down the mountainside. Often our enemy was nature. You know what nature is, right? You were just out in it. You saw snow. Well, snow avalanches comes falling down. Snow will flood rivers, and then rivers will flow fast. The breakers will come ashore, or the food on the land will become scarce. It is up to the chief to make sure that everybody puts enough food away for the winter, because come spring, if they don't do that, the whole tribe might die. That's the role of the chief. Very simply. It's also much more complicated than that. In the world of the Tlinkits, and it's this way among a lot of tribes, in Tlingit country, there are two tribes, basically. Can you tell who this guy is? Can you say it? This is the Raven. This is the Raven. Now, this happens to be my tribe. You can see him in my regalia. And so when your mom is Raven, all of the children are Raven. And so what happens to the dad? Well, Mom, the Raven, has to marry across to the other tribe, or the eagle. So Dad is from the eagle tribe. But Mom, the Raven, is the one that controls the whole family and the whole clan. So even though it is only a man who can be chief, Mom as Raven has more power because she has all the kids and their votes. Okay, that's what's known as moieties. Raven is the tribe, but he's the moiety. Eagle is the opposite tribe, but also a moiety. Okay.
Hi, Mrs. Gilson's class, 4th grade class in Rossman Elementary in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Hi, kids.
Erica. Shayigan.
This is my adopted class going along with me on the road trip to share stories on the road. And today it is an extreme honor, truly an honor to have Mr. Jim Thomas, headman of the Tlingit tribe from Alaska, with us. This is such an honor, truly an honor. And thank you for being here. And thank you, Mrs. Gilson's class, for joining us. And we're going to go into some questions now. The students have some questions for you. Does that sound good, Mr. Thomas?
That sounds very good.
All right, then who is the first student?
We have Cyrus. And let's say it one more time. How do we address him? 1, 2, 3. Shayigan. Okay, go ahead, Cyrus.
That is good.
How did you get to be the Shayigan?
Well, Shayigan, of course, is my name, which is the keeper of the mountain. But how did I get to be the headman? That comes first by blood. Now, you got to remember, we have two sides. We have Raven and we have Eagle. So the Raven mother has to marry Eagle. She cannot marry another Raven person. So there's a chief of the Raven and the subclans. My subclan is Owl. And then my father's tribe then is Brown Bear. And he was a big chief. He had a house called the Bear Hand House, and it was right on his house. He was such a big chief, when they questioned whether he had the qualities of a chief or not, he built a huge community house. I mean big. Had a big potlatch in it. A potlatch is a gathering, a big tribal gathering. And they give away gifts, unbelievable gifts. Well, you know what he did? He built that house, he held the potlatch, and then he tore it down. And he built another one right in the same place. Held another potlatch, gave away horrendous gifts because he was wealthy. And then when the people went home, he tore it down. And you know how many times he did that? 7. 7 times. Am I counting right? And the people couldn't argue that he was truly the chief. Now, I cannot be the chief or the head man of my father's clan. That would be my children's role. Well, actually, my son would marry an eagle girl. So, and it is when the eagle girl bears a son, he's eligible to be chief. It's very complicated, but that's how we become chief, by blood, by selection of other chiefs, but mostly because many people, although they're honored to be chief, don't want to be chief, because if I had time to tell you the story, it would be immense. But thank you for the question.
Okay, next up is Bailey. She has a question. Bailey.
What do you feel like when other people destroy the tribes?
Okay, I didn't hear that too well. Let me turn up my volume just a bit.
Let's turn ours up too. Ours is up all the way.
Okay, there we go.
Shut.
What do you feel like when other people destroy the tribes?
Well, it feels nobody likes to have, his or her family harmed. And when you talk about a tribe, you're talking about a whole collection of people, and they're really made up of clans. So you've got a tribe that have little clans in them, and guess what makes up a clan? Families. So when you hurt a tribe, you are hurting families. And that's why we say, as Indian people, we say that we have to watch the tongue. The tongue is a very bad instrument that can be used for a lot of harm. Do you hurt when somebody says something nasty about you? Yes, I do. And that's the way people kill each other. They say bad things, and it hurts. And eventually people who hurt start to not be able to live a good life. They start going down. So that's the way it is to be Indian. Now, somebody said to me one time, you know how when Thanksgiving comes around, everybody says, well, the Pilgrims had something to celebrate. They escaped the Europeans and they came here. And of course, as Indians, we welcomed them. We ate with them Thanksgiving dinners. And they say to me, well, don't you hate Thanksgiving Day? And I say to the people, no. I am happy to know the people that I know. And I know some people from Europe, from Africa, from the East Asia, and so forth. And I love them. I get along very well with them. So at Thanksgiving, what I give thanks for is that I was born in the United States of America. To me, that is precious, very precious. Did you know that in Alaska, we could have been Russians? The Russians took over Alaska. They had all of Alaska. They sold it to the United States. Down in Texas, in those areas, that belonged to the Spanish people, the Spaniards. And you go all across this country, the French owned some. You live in French country up there in Minnesota. And of course, the Scandinavians are there too, I believe, aren't they? The Norwegians and the Swedish and so forth. We have a lot of Norwegians in Alaska. We love them and we call them Scandinavians. You like that? So it hurts us, yes. It does hurt us, but it's best not to respond by being nasty back. Okay? Thank you for the question.
Braylon.
Braylon.
What does it feel like to be the head man?
Maybe I have time to tell you this story very quickly. My mother, when I was a little boy, much younger than you, my mother would set me down and she said, someday somebody's going to call on you to be the chief, to be the head man. And you have to be prepared for what will happen to you and what you must do to stay the head man. So in my world, you have a mom, I have a mom, but her sister in my world is Little Mom. Mom is Tla, Little Mom is Tlauk. That makes her a little one, see? And we love our little moms, just like our real moms. And so her children, which would be a cousin, is a brother. So here's what my mom said to me. She said, as a chief, you must sit in front of the entire tribe in front of you, and you must watch your auntie, your little mom, kneel in front of you, begging for the life of her son, who is my brother. And she said, because he committed a bad thing against the tribe, they have no choice but to put him to death. He cannot live if he does something that'll harm the tribe. And guess who has to make the announcement? The chief. So kneeling before me is my mom, my little mom, and her son is off to the side, and she's begging for him to stay alive. My mom said to me, you must look her in the eye, and you must not twitch the least bit. You must not quiver anywhere. Your voice must stay strong. There may be no tears. As you say to your little mom, your son will be put to death. Mistake. That is not glamorous to be a chief. And so, you know, I got done with that lesson. I ran back to my room and I said, I don't want to be chief. I don't want to be chief. And another time she brought me together and she said, okay, you are the chief now. Somebody in the tribe dies. It doesn't have to be an important person. It could be of any other tribe. But you must stand in front of the people, the tribe, and you must weep. You must cry. Now, isn't that something? When you're saying that your brother is going to be put to death, you cannot show a tear. But here, you have to stand before the tribe and shed tears and express how bad you feel to the tribe. that makes you a true chief. I still ran back to my room and said, I don't want to be chief. Thanks for the question.
This is Eli.
Hi, Eli.
Do you have any regrets, like personal, like your family or like your tribe?
He's asking if you have any regrets for yourself or your tribe.
Sometimes I used to think, I wish I wasn't born an Indian. But it turns out being an Indian is a lot of fun. We laugh like mad. Even today, we tell stories, we tell jokes. And in today's world, a lot of people can't tell jokes anymore because it might offend someone. And then all of a sudden you got, people gossiping and so forth. Do I have any regrets for me? I don't think so. I came from a teeny little village, 250 people in Yakutat, Alaska. Beautiful country. Lots of food, lots of land with food, and lots of the food in the sea. And I came out of that world and I went into a big world where I felt good about me. You have to feel good about you if somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, would you like to do this? And you know what happened to me? I was in Washington, D.C. I was the head of an Indian organization that represented 500 tribes. So I was well known in Indian country. And this is a long time ago when Indians weren't too recognized. But somebody tapped me on the shoulder and they said, would you like to work for the Vice President of the United States? You know what? I didn't hesitate. I said, bring it on. Here I am, Indian, and I'm an assistant to the Vice President of the United States. I traveled all over with them. They even made me a member of the Secret Service. I didn't carry a gun, but I read lots of people's dossiers. But I also wrote a lot of the speeches. I not only wrote for the Vice President, who was Republican, that was Spiro Agnew. I wrote speeches for Ted Kennedy, who was Democrat. So it didn't matter in the old days which side you were on. If they needed you, they called on you. So I don't have any regrets for being an Indian, and I don't think anybody should be regretful of themselves, whether they come from whatever nation, and they should never regret their parents. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we should learn that lesson. It doesn't matter which side you are on. You all should be together.
That's right.
Our next question is from Leanna.
I can't even see what you all look like because you've got all that stuff on your face.
It's sad.
You're all lovely.
There you go, Leanna.
What do you do for fun?
What do I do what?
For fun. Fun.
Oh, what do I do for fun? Well, when I was younger, nowadays, of course, just waking up is fun. We have grandpas and grandmas who say that, But in my younger days, I used to fly airplanes. I mean, really get behind a wheel and fly planes, just for fun, just little single engines. And like when I said somebody tapped me on the shoulder to be an aide to the Vice President, somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, would you like to be a judge in the Miss America scholarship pageants? Now that was fun. And I did. I traveled all over judging pageants, and I especially enjoyed it because I loved how women had the opportunity to become great young women because of that program. In those days, girls and women didn't have much opportunity. So that was fun. And I'm a commercial fisherman from a long time ago. Oh, that is fun. When you see fish hitting your net, oh, there's nothing more fun than that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Jocelyn. Do you catch lots of salmon and halibut?
Oh, we've got loads of salmon up in my hometown.
Oh, I'll be there. This is Jocelyn.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Hello. So my question is, which tribes have gotten their land back?
Oh, which tribes have gotten? That is one of the other fun things I did in life. Because I worked for the vice president, I became quite known in Indian country. So the Indians came to me. I had a little company called Jim Thomas Associates. And my office was in the National Press Club. By the way, I was the first Indian inducted into the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. From that base, the Yakimas were the first to come to me. They're in Washington State. They have a 12,000-foot mountain. It's gorgeous. Guess what? They hired me to win it back. The lawyers couldn't do it. So they hired me. Took us 14 months, but I got President Nixon to sign the mountain back to the tribe. And another one, Taos Blue Lake in New Mexico. That one I was also a part of, and that was also returned by President Nixon. And oh, to sit by, there's a river that comes down from the sacred Blue Lake Mountain. And I have a picture of me with my hands down in the water. And oh, I tell you, you could feel power in that water. That's the other thing you should learn to do. Allow yourselves to feel power, you know, to touch water, to touch a tree. You know, this is a totem pole made from a tree. It's just a small one. By the way, somebody asked about a halibut. This is the symbol of the halibut. So, it's just fun to be able to have all of this ability and surrounding us. May I ask you what your heritage is?
I am part Indian, part Native American.
Okay. Now, who lives up there? The Ojibways? The Ojibways are up in northern Minnesota. A real good friend of mine was Roger Jourdain. He's gone now, but he was the chairman for a long time of the, oh no, it's going to disappear. I want to say Red River, but that's not
Red
right.
Lake?
Red Lake. The Red Lake tribe, yes. Yeah. Thank you. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay.
Up next is Dylan.
Have you been in any wars?
Have I been in any wars? No, at the time they were drafting for, it was actually the Vietnam War. I was in college, and the kids in college were deferred at that time. So if you were already in college, you didn't have to sign up. And so I didn't have the privilege of being in war, but I'm grateful that I didn't have to go, but I really respect those who did, because they have suffered greatly, and they still do. They still do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up is Lanny.
Lanny. Hi there, you've been waiting.
My question is, what are some of your traditions?
Oh gosh, we have one of the fun things of doing in my country is sing and dance. Now, see the symbol? That is Raven. So that's my tribe. Now we sing some songs for fun. We just sing it to get everybody's spirit up, you know. Ho hee ho ho, ho hee ho ho, ho hee, ho hee. Is that fun?
That was great.
That's one of our traditions, and of course, storytelling. Our language was never written, and so we had to tell lots of stories and over and over and over again. So, and fishing. Up in your country, they have lots of canoes. We had canoes that we fished with. And you know, some of our halibut, how many of you have seen a halibut? Okay, 1, 2, at least see pictures of it. These guys get to be up to 400 pounds. And when you're pulling up out of it's a long pull. You get them up to your canoe, they're longer than the canoe. So they tow them to shore. And that's fun. Getting food is fun. Those are some of our traditions. Dancing is a big one. Indian dancing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Next up is Paxton.
Paxton with a P.
Yes, Paxton.
Okay. Wow, what are you?
He's looking at your mask.
Your mask is scary.
It is. Ooh.
Yeah, it is.
Did you make your weapons and utilities? Like
Do we
shovel
make-
and stuff?
Or hunting and stuff.
He's asking, did you make your weapons and utilities like shovels and things?
Oh yes, there was back in the old days. Yes. Even in Alaska, we have hardware stores now. But in the old days, yes, we had to. Mostly, we made them out of rock. You know, we made our bowls. We pounded them out, and spoons, shut. We call them shut. It's made out of the horn of mountain goats and so forth. And spoon, we made hooks with, again, from horns to catch the halibut. And so, yeah, we made everything that we had. If you're asking what did our weapons look like, they were spears. We used spears, and we had those, because we would hunt seal. I don't have one of my canoes here, but Yakutat has a special canoe where the front of it comes down like this. It comes down like this, kind of like the big ships of today. But what that does is when they're hunting seal, let's say they got the seal and it's dead, they speared it, so the canoe comes in real fast, grabs it like that, and they keep pushing it until they're able to grab it and pull it into the boat canoe. So interesting things. Yeah, we have some interesting ones.
Thank you.
Good question.
That was a great question. Okay, I would like to ask a question.
I'm not sure if
always-
adults are allowed to ask questions.
Thank you. Mrs. Gilson, I love that. And I would like to, I always have a lesson or a moral for my children. So what would be your lesson or moral for them going out into the world?
I think there is nothing more important in today's world than to know who you are. And don't be afraid to look back into your country. Some of you are from Germany originally. Ask your mom and dad, your grandpas. Some of you are from Norway. How many are from Norway, for example? Okay. How many are from Sweden? I see some redheads. There's got to be some Finlanders. Yeah, and Germans. There should be a lot of Germans there. And of course, American Indian, Native Americans. Who did I miss? What other nation?
What are you? What ethnicity? Italian.
Italiano. Oh, I love Italiano. Someday when you get to see the movie The Godfather, Marlon Brando was my best friend, and I was his only guest at the world premiere of that show. And it was the biggest.
I can't believe it.
In the world.
Just when I think you can't like wow me anymore, you do. You're amazing. I'm just like, what? Oh.
What I want you to do, what I want you to take with you is go back into yourself. Go back through mom, through dad, go back through grandpa. Get to know who you are. And then look in the mirror and say to yourself, I like me. That little story of the birdie, that's what its lesson is. I like me, no matter what. Then you can't, if you like yourself, you can't dislike anyone else. It works.
Oh my gosh, that was so great. I definitely is. We just talked about identity this week, about ethnicity, where you come from, loving yourself first before you love others. So all of those just tie in so much. We are so honored to have been in your presence.
And I offer to all of you my love, and the love of my people, and the love of the universe. When people say I pray, it means I am talking, and I talk off my deck. I live right on the water here. When I talk off my deck, I talk to the universe. That's what it is, and I will hold your names up there. Now, the water comes right up to my shore here, and I am up high, but the big old killer whale come right past us every so often, and it's gorgeous. They're big, and they're beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Someday, come out my way.
We would love to. Wouldn't that be a great field trip, you guys?
Yeah.
All right, so we are so honored. What is it? Shani Gun? Am I saying it right?
Shayi Gun.
Shayi Gun. We love you back.
Okay, good. Sheesh. Thank you.
Love that, Joe.
Ooh.
Thank you so much. They made this for you. Does it spell right, or is it backwards on the?
It's right.
What's up? Yeah.
Yep. That they made this as their mascot, and they all signed this, and this is what's going on the road trip with me for the year. And we're honored that you were our guest, Mr. Thomas, and Shani Gunn, and Mrs. Gilson's class, and all of you students. You had wonderful questions. And we're so excited to have you guys as ambassadors for students to share with other students in the US and around the world with our beautiful conversation with you, Shanigan.
Oh, they were wonderful. I appreciated them very much. Thank you.
So honored. We'll not ever forget it. Thank you, Shanigan.
Thank you.
Shanigan.
And happy fishing. And you are invited here to Minnesota to catch walleye anytime.
Ooh, I will.
Okay? All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Fishermen in our family, too. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye, Erica.
Bye-bye.
Love you back.
Bye, Shani Gun. Love you more.